Hello, it's Sonia and my owl journal, owl nature journal. Well, it goes together very well, right? Haha. Anyway, uh, it's a soft fabric cover, really, really big. I don't have the measurements right now, but I can give you at least some. Well, it's 9 centimeters. Actually, the spine is around 6 centimeters, and that is, wait a second, please. Yeah, here's the about 2.5 inches wide spine, and it's 9 by 6 and something. Okay, so it's rather big, and yeah, as you can see, it has a lot of layers on the front. There is fabric, cotton fabric, and some other fabrics here, some skeleton leaves, yarn that's fluffy and looks to me like something really natural, or maybe mossy or something like that. There are some artificial leaves, kind of velvety when you touch them, and I think they go really, really well with everything. There are all kinds of leaves, actually. I used quite a lot of artificial leaves in this journal. Okay, I will have to hurry up because the sun is quickly going away. So yeah, this is this kind of frame. It's a handmade paper. I painted it in 2 or 3 different paints, and a little bit of gold. There are some gold dots, spots here and there, and of course this picture of an owl, which came, it's a gorgeous picture. I found it in the magazine, and then I just aged it a little bit, you know, not to look so new and fresh. This is the spine. It has 3 signatures, and then there's this sewn on, of course, strap of fabric for closure, and then this piece with this faint stamp. It says nest. It's really lovely, and I like it actually that it came out like this. I like that because, you know, it just goes together very well. So yeah, that's the cover, and then for the closure is this cotton fabric, coffee dyed, and sorry, I keep looking at my dog. He's going around the room. So anyway, on the inside there's no pocket or anything, because there are a lot of pockets inside the journal. He's stretching. And you can see the stitching, crazy stitching, not too crazy this time, just a little bit. And then we have all kinds of different papers, and every page, I think every single page is stamped, or, you know, it's something else that is done to it. But basically there's a lot of stamping in this journal, and to tell you the truth, it took me a lot of time to make this one. Not only that it's big, but it has a lot of details, like these beautiful stamps. Then there's some eco-dyed paper, coffee dyed book page bags, and there is a collaged journaling card. It has also a little bit of collage and sewing here with some stamping, and then some cotton fabric and this artificial leaf that's, you know, just lovely, beautiful. I've been keeping those for really a long time, and I knew that they would look fabulous in something, but they just ended up, you know, looking great in this journal, and I'm so happy about it. Then this vintage paper, it's not craft paper. I don't know, but it is vintage, and it's really smooth on one side and then not that smooth on the other, but it's great. And yeah, I stamped it. More eco dyeing. I've used some of these really heavy, or not heavy dyed, but you know, darker ones. More vintage papers. This is a page from a stenography book. Really interesting. And to tell you the truth, to me this looks like, you know, when well, here people sometimes say if your handwriting is not that pretty, that it looks like oh, how would I translate that? Like the birds have walked over it or something like that, you know. So it reminded me of that, and there's a connection with birds in some weird way. More stamping here, eco dyeing, and I will have to hurry up though. It's a huge journal, and tiny tags. This is some vintage word card that Renee has sent to me. There are some things in this journal that come from Renee's junk journal kit, the bird kit, and they turned out really wonderful. Like this owl, and then I added these leaves underneath. And I used a lot of sewing and collaging. There's another collage as a pocket with this owl, and then just a cute tag with more artificial leaves. More eco dyeing. Beautiful. I love these papers. Vintage postage stamp and some collage of different papers, and a page from a book from 1957, and then I stitched around, you know, for some interest, and then I left the back as it is because it's just beautiful, and you could use these lines, you know, as writing lines. Then here's a leaf charm, and I used this page from a calendar that Renee also sent to me. Renee from GT Designs and Vintage Art Supplies. And then I backed it with some vintage paper, and now it's a lovely additional writing spot. Then my handmade paper, of course, and this time it's one with the pressed plants, and you know, the ones that came off a little bit, I decoupaged them, so they're all nicely sealed and they look beautiful. More eco dyeing. This is you know, it comes from the other side, of course, the stitching, but I just added this leaf that I cut out. I made some excuse me, some stamps, and you know, I made them for this journal, but of course I will use them in other ones too, and that's what I did. A simple collage with some fabric, paper, vintage postage stamp, this velvety leaf, some stamping here, more eco dyeing, more handmade paper, coffee dyed paper. As I said, all kinds of. This one has some really cool onion prints on it, onion skin. This one is really dark and beautiful. Then another collage here with different papers, some fabric, velvet, and then I made this journaling card out of some corrugated cardboard. You probably know by now I'm really in love with corrugated cardboard. Some fabric paper, not fabric paper, fabric and paper, a real feather, and some, again, leaves there. More stenography. Oh my god, I'm still on the signature one, at the signature. Another tag with those leaves, and I guess I'm going to let my dog out of the room. Excuse me, let me just let him out. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so there is a bit of a gap in between the signatures, but that's, you know, I did it like that because otherwise the journal would go like this and it would not look really pretty. And also it gives you more space to add things to it. So yeah, and now of course it's similar to the first signature, you know, all the different papers, except for these different collages and tags and stuff like that. So here we've got some vintage coffee dyed fabric and a leaf, and then this pretty owl, of course. And then I didn't have you know, I have a lot of vintage stamps, postage stamps, but I don't have one with an owl. So I took this bird. I mean, it's a bird, right? So that goes there. And on the other side is this cute stamp of an owl on this lovely fabric, and I stitched that with these leaves. You know, it just adds a little bit of color and some texture and interest, and I really like how this journal turned out in terms of all the details and textures. I personally think it's really well balanced, but again, it's for you to decide, right? And then more collaging here. This is eco-dyed vellum, or tracing paper, actually. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks kind of like a tree bark to me. And then some raffia, and again leaves and stitching, and you know, I love this. I really like it. Then again, eco-dyed papers, coffee dyed papers, handmade, you know, beautiful, beautiful things. There's this one which has this gorgeous print of this leaf. Again, my handmade stamp. Here I've got just a really cool piece of coffee painted cardstock, and then I backed it with this graph paper, eco-dyed, and then there's a vintage postage stamp with mushrooms, and it looks really, really nice. So that goes there. Oops. Then this other side is empty, but as you can see, it's a beautiful envelope. Well, it was an envelope, but I've cut both sides to make pockets. And then this one, it's from a vintage, well, not that vintage actually, but from an old book. And this black frame was there, or should I say just an oval shape, with some writing in the middle. Oh, there he goes barking. Sorry. And then I added this piece of cardstock with leaves, and you know, I just loved the result, so I included it like that. So then you can see the stitching on the other side. And yeah, here is another collage with paper, fabrics, and these leaves. And then, of course, another tag, a simple one, you know, not to compete with this collage here. yeah, this is faux leather. I stitched it and of course cut it in a shape of the leaf, and then this eco-dyed cardstock and stamped, and you know, I added this raffia and these leaves. Cool, really cool. Yeah, another handmade stamp here, really nice. And then there's this paper clip with this big charm. You know, an owl, it moves. It's really nice. And then you know, I think this is the last one, or maybe I have just one left of these beautiful buttons, wooden buttons, in a shape of a bird. I hope that you can see that. Yeah. And I layered all these fabrics and cheesecloth and leaf and everything, and then added this little bird. And on the other side is this vintage cardstock, and it's nice that it's green. And to be honest, I don't think I have very many left of those cardstock pieces, but it doesn't matter. Then yeah, more eco dyeing. Yeah, another collage here. I love these collages. They're done on vintage some kind of heavy paper, and maybe you can see there's even a hole there down there. Yeah, and that was also kind of eco-dyed, or you know, sometimes I just put them in the same in that like tea that comes out of eco-dyeing process, and then they get lovely stains or subtle changes in color. And yeah, sometimes you can achieve all kinds of things even on purpose, which is not always the case when you do eco-dyeing. Many things just happen. But anyway, some stamping, vintage book page, these collaged pieces of cardstock or paper that I've sewed, and of course the leaves. This is a nice piece from a vintage book that I've cut out and used here, and the velvety leaf. Another piece from a vintage book, and this is a real leaf that I pressed and then decoupaged onto a piece of cardstock. More handmade stamps, eco-dyed papers. This is also from a kit that Renee has sent to me, and more of that cut-out piece. And the third signature, this is a mushroom metal charm, and another piece from Renee's kit. I love this, so beautiful. And again, I backed it with vintage paper. More stamping. Again, from the kit. And that, oh no, sorry, that goes there. Oh my god. Yeah, I just sewed this all around to keep this lovely picture, you know, whole. And it just looks pretty there. Not pretty, beautiful. And then this is really heavily dyed, coffee dyed book page bag. And then I added this pocket, layered, you know, sewed, and then this handmade tag, a simple one, but it has this coffee dyed paper there also, and more leaves. I love this stamp. This is one of my favorite stamps. Beautiful eco-dyeing. This is another tag, and here I added this like a compass. No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. Well, gee, is it a compass or what? I mean, is there some other word, whoops, for it? Well, you know, you see what it is. North, south, east, west. Anyway, it's holding this journaling card, again backed with some vintage paper. It's beautiful owl there. More of the handmade paper with plants. And yeah, another eco-dyed envelope turned into pockets. More handmade stamps. Eco-dyed, coffee-dyed, vintage paper. And this is also a pocket. It's from the kit, also from a vintage book. Then this bark looking tracing paper. The feather comes also from a vintage book. And then there's this handmade tag. I used some cardstock. It's from Tim Holtz, like a, I don't know, like a, not a book, but oh my god, like a book with stickers or something. So I used that and I stamped it, sewed these, and backed it with some vintage paper, eco-dyed or tea-dyed, I don't remember anymore. As I said, every page of this, especially of these vintage papers, every page is stamped. I only, I didn't stamp only these that are, just beautiful for themselves. They already have something interesting on them. And this is another side of that eco-dyed envelope. And then I created like a cute little leaf tag out of the faux leather there. And this, I love this stamp also. These wings, they're more like maybe angel wings, but they are wings. So I thought they would go really well with this journal. More lovely plants. These are delicate, but they are sealed really nicely because this paper is really, really thick. Another real leaf, decoupaged, and then this little thing says bird. And on this side is this playing card, also from Renee's kit, and this tag that goes there. It looks cute, like this owl is sitting on a tree because there are leaves, and these leaves are so soft, very thin. More eco-dyeing, and then the other side of that book page bag with some handmade stamps and vintage paper, and of course these faux leaves, or not faux leaves, but artificial leaves. Eco-dye, oh come on. This is also a handmade stamp, this kind of a flowery thing. And this is the back with this nice fabric pocket collaged. It says flight, and then I made this tag to go in there. I've stitched over this raffia. It's like a bird's nest, just to remind of it. And then these wonderful leaves. So that's my owl journal. I hope you like it, because I really do. It's really big, but it's soft, and I love all the texture there, all the different materials and everything. So yeah, tell me what you think about it, and thank you very much for watching this video. And yeah, maybe I'll be, more, what's the word? I don't know, more in the filming mode. But anyway, have a wonderful day or night, and see you next time, guys. Bye bye.